If you are a lover of affirmations or you've just heard about how powerful they can be, then you are going to love the Daily Affirmations for Women podcast, created by the Women's Meditation Network and hosted by the amazing Jody Agard. Every morning, you'll receive an episode that is dedicated to one specific affirmation, so you can have the space to reflect on it and receive the power within it. Follow and start listening now to the Daily Affirmations for Women podcast on your favorite podcast player.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1893, Couples Therapy for Parents. Better Marriage, Better Parents, by Jessica Hufnagle of couplestherapyinc.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our parenting leg of the week here on ORD. I'm Greg Audino, your host and narrator, excited to be with you once again. Now, normally our posts from Couples Therapy Inc. are geared towards marriage, and I think you'll find that today's article, courtesy of Jessica Hufnagle, really touches upon skills that are important as both a partner and a parent. So, without further ado, let's get right into it and optimize your life. Couples Therapy for Parents. Better Marriage, Better Parents, by Jessica Hufnagle of couplestherapyinc.com. There's no doubt that having children increases the day-to-day mental load on adults, and we think that couples counseling for parents means working on your parenting skills. For us, however, what we learned as a married couple translated beautiful into more effective parenting. We have a pretty strong couple relationship already and make good parenting partners, so I was surprised to find that the evidence-based approach of the Gottman method taught us valuable skills for both our marriage and our parenting. We had a clear example of that recently. Video games and spending. These dynamics are not uncommon in many of our parenting and family struggles. Imagine this. It's Sunday morning, and my 9-year-old son is playing video games. He comes asking me to add money to his account so that he can get tokens to purchase some cool video game thingy. He recently got gift money, and it was burning a hole in his pocket. He was excited to start spending. This is not my department, so I sent him to talk with my husband. The two of them went down to the game room, and 10 minutes later, my son marched upstairs. He was red-faced, avoided eye contact with me, and headed straight to his room. My husband followed and started talking to me about the shameful predatory practices of the video game industry. It was an eloquent speech about how they hijack young kids' brains to make impulsive decisions. This, he pointed out, carries over into a lifetime of bad financial decisions. And we had a heartbroken child in the other room. I thought that he should probably be part of this discussion. Teaching financial literacy. Financial literacy is a very strong shared family value of ours, and so we really wanted our son to hear this as a learning opportunity and not as a punishment. It was a small but critical opportunity to plant the seeds for future financial responsibility. We needed to make sure he could hear it that way, and if he was flooded, that was unlikely. Flooding and conflict. I work at Couples Therapy Inc., and my husband and I have learned about some excellent principles of evidence-based couples therapy. One relevant to our discussion is stonewalling. My husband and I do not approach conflict in the same way. When in conflict, I argue loudly for my point of view and use a lot of words and details. In these moments, I sometimes realize that my husband was present, but he wasn't really listening anymore. He might be looking away, physically turning away from me, or even walking away. I spent years getting frustrated when my husband would shut down in arguments. Stonewalling is one of Gottman's 4 horsemen. Stonewalling. What I have come to understand is that he was likely flooded at that moment. He was overwhelmed emotionally, adrenaline was kicking in, and his heart rate was elevated. Rather than shouting, as I do when I'm flooded, he was turning into his own self-talk and checking out of the conversation. He wasn't doing it to be mean or punitive, but rather his brain could no longer engage. He was flooded. It's a sign that he needs a break or nothing good is going to come of the conversation. When it happens now, I am still a little hurt and a little frustrated, but we have a plan. We have a practical way to approach it. Teaching our children to pause with good role modeling. When our son emerged from his room, my husband explained how the $5 worth of tokens had to be purchased in $10 increments. You also had to leave your credit card linked. There were always going to be new and cool things to buy in $10 increments. Would our son know when it was time to stop? My husband was not yelling, but he is a loud talker. In response to this conversation, our son was staring blankly at my husband. He was respectfully maintaining eye contact, but he was not responding. His face was still beet red. I'm guessing his heart rate was also pretty high. I looked over at my husband and I mouthed, "He's flooded." My husband stopped his lecture. He tells him, "I love you, bud. Let's talk in a few minutes." Our son speeds out of the room, and we reconvened to decide how we should handle it. Integrating values into communication skills. Using principles from Gottman couples therapy, we now have a shared language. I can wave a little flag called flooding at my husband, and he gets it. It is a couple code, and I meant that I could offer him support without undermining him in front of our son. Together, we discussed how this wasn't about $5 or $10, but about our son's relationship with money. It's an important issue for my husband. He was an impulsive spender in his youth. After our marriage, I taught him to save, and he taught me how to enjoy spending once in a while. Our solution? We helped our son write up a plan for how his gift money and small allowance should be spent or saved each month. Now, he has a few dollars budgeted for video games, snacks that mom refuses to buy, and toys. Couples counseling and happy families. One of the privileges of working with this group of couples therapists is that I spend my days surrounded by relationship-positive people who are leading the field. Each weekend, they improve relationship satisfaction and reduce relationship distress in intensive marriage retreats. What is unexpected is that I can confidently say couples therapy taught me how connecting with your partner has not only made my marriage better, but it also made us more effective parents. This is significant. Much like financial literacy, learning healthy relationship skills can create a multi-generational impact. You just listened to the post titled, Couples Therapy for Parents. Better Marriage, Better Parents, by Jessica Hufnagle of couplestherapyinc.com.
Wait, are you gaming? On a Chromebook?
Yep. It's got a high-res 120Hz display, plus this killer RGB keyboard. And I can access thousands of games anytime, anywhere.
Stop playing.
What?
Get out of here.
Huh?
Yeah, I want you to stop playing and get out of here so I can game on that Chromebook.
Got it.
Discover the ultimate cloud gaming machine, a new kind of Chromebook.
What's up? It's Kaylee Cuoco. When it comes to travel, we all have a happy place. I just went to my happy place. I just went to Maui, and it was truly amazing. Priceline has always been about getting you to your happy place for a happy price with deals you really can't find anywhere else. Like up to 60% off select hotels in Costa Rica or 5-star hotels for 2-star prices in Cabo.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
And thanks so much to Jessica for this terrific post. Now, one part of it that was really quick but stood out a lot to me was her mentioning that she and her husband have a plan for the times in which they realize that one or both of them are flooded. This is something that I would highly encourage you to consider with both your significant other and your children. Think about what typically tends to happen when you or they are flooding. What ends up happening, and how can you tap into what you need in those moments to prevent it from happening again? Talk about this while you're in a neutral state. You might have a safe word for when the flooding is hitting its peak and you need to stop for a while. You might plan to each take 30-minute walks separate from one another and then come back. You might each ask for 5 uninterrupted minutes to talk while the other only listens. Or you might resolve to kiss goodnight and then pick it up again in the morning. I don't know, but think about what you've been left wanting in the past. Ask the same of your child and or significant other, and make a plan for yourselves now so that no one allows their adrenaline to get the best of them when it's not necessary. Okay, that's going to bring us to the end for today, ORD fanatics. Thanks a lot for stopping in and listening until the end. Have a great rest of your day, and be sure to come on back tomorrow for another parenting post. That's where your optimal life awaits.